Respect is the cornerstone of every lasting relationship, yet it is one of the most underestimated qualities when it comes to how people communicate with each other. Affection can spark interest, attraction can ignite passion, and words can create excitement, but without respect, none of those things will endure. To talk to a man in a way that makes him feel deeply connected to you, the first and most powerful element must be respect. Respect is not simply politeness or courtesy, it goes far deeper. It is the acknowledgement of his existence, the validation of his value, and the recognition of his role not just in your life, but in his own journey as a human being. When a man feels respected, something profound happens inside him. Respect reaches into his spirit in a way that admiration, flattery, or even love cannot always reach. Love without respect can easily become suffocating, but respect nourishes love and makes it meaningful. A man can hear countless compliments from the world, but the way he feels when someone close to him speaks to him with true respect is unforgettable. It touches him where he feels most unseen. Respect is not about blind obedience or putting someone on a pedestal. Instead, it is about balance and recognition. It is about seeing the effort he puts into his life and acknowledging it without dismissing it. Many men carry silent weights that they rarely speak about. They face pressures to perform, to succeed, to be strong, to be dependable. Society expects them to bear burdens quietly, and often nobody pauses to recognize what they go through. When you talk to a man with respect, you communicate something powerful. You see him. You see the effort he makes, the challenges he faces, and the person he is beyond the surface. Imagine the difference between two voices. One voice criticizes, constantly reminding him of where he falls short, comparing him to others, and stripping away his sense of worth. The other voice uplifts, acknowledges the effort even if it doesn't always lead to perfection, and speaks to him in a way that builds rather than tears down. The first voice drains him, the second voice gives him strength. Respect is found in that second voice. It does not ignore flaws, but it chooses to highlight value before pointing out shortcomings. It speaks to him in a way that says, "I recognize who you are, and I believe in who you can be." Respect also comes through listening. So many people want to be heard but few want to hear. To truly respect a man, you must listen to his thoughts, his opinions, his dreams, and even his fears. Listening is not about waiting for your turn to respond, but about making him feel that his voice matters. Even when you disagree, respect allows you to express your perspective without belittling his. That difference in tone makes him feel safe. It tells him that he can be himself without the fear of being ridiculed or dismissed. When a man feels respected, he is drawn closer. Respect builds trust, and trust builds intimacy. It goes far beyond physical attraction. A man who feels respected in conversation feels like he has found a partner, not just a companion. He feels like he has someone who sees the best in him, even when the world sees only flaws. That feeling is rare, and it makes him hold on tightly to the person who gives it to him. Respect in speech also means choosing words wisely. Words can either cut like knives or heal like medicine. Respectful communication means avoiding unnecessary insults, sarcasm, or comparisons that demean. It means speaking truth with kindness and criticism with care. Even when pointing out mistakes, the tone is what makes the difference. A respectful tone says, "I want to see you grow," while a disrespectful tone says, "You are not enough." One builds him, the other breaks him. And when you consistently choose words that build rather than destroy, he begins to see you as someone irreplaceable. Men, like everyone else, crave recognition. They want to know that their effort is not invisible. They may not always ask for it, but they feel it deeply when it is given. A simple acknowledgement of his hard work, a word of gratitude for what he does, or a reminder that you notice his sacrifices can mean more than grand declarations of love. Respect shows itself in those small but powerful affirmations that tell him, "I don't take you for granted." Those moments make him want to give even more, because respect fuels his desire to rise to the level of the appreciation he receives. Respect also has the power to calm storms. In the middle of conflict, when emotions are high and tempers threaten to take over, respect can be the anchor that keeps everything steady. Speaking with respect during disagreements means refusing to strip the other person of dignity even when you're upset. It means arguing without cruelty, correcting without shaming, and disagreeing without demeaning. Men remember how they are spoken to in moments of tension, and if you can maintain respect even when it's difficult, you leave a lasting mark on his heart. There is also an unspoken side of respect, respecting his individuality. It means allowing him space to grow, to pursue passions, and to express himself without control or judgment. It means respecting his time, his boundaries, and his dreams, talking to him in a way that communicates, "I honor who you are and where you're going." Gives him the freedom to flourish without fear. That freedom does not push him away, it draws him closer, because respect makes him want to stay. Respect is magnetic. When your words consistently communicate that you value him, you activate something deep within him. He feels proud to be around you, motivated to give his best, and safe enough to reveal parts of himself that he hides from the rest of the world. Respect transforms ordinary interactions into meaningful ones. It makes him look forward to hearing your voice, because your voice reminds him that he matters. And when respect is genuine, it never feels forced. It flows naturally because it comes from a place of appreciation. You don't need to exaggerate or flatter to show respect. It is in the sincerity of your words, the patience in your tone, and the acknowledgement of his effort. Respect is not about inflating his ego, it's about affirming his humanity. And when you speak to him from that place of truth, he will feel it in every word. Over time, respect builds a foundation so strong that it makes every other aspect of the relationship flourish. Love feels deeper, intimacy feels safer, and trust feels unshakable. Respect keeps passion alive because it prevents bitterness from creeping in. It makes both people feel valued, appreciated, and understood. For a man, knowing that the person closest to him truly respects him is one of the greatest forms of emotional security. This is why respect is the foundation of connection. It is the language that every man longs to hear, even if he doesn't know how to ask for it. When you talk to him in a way that shows respect, you are not just speaking to his mind. You are speaking to his heart, his spirit, and his deepest sense of self. And that is why respect is not just important, it is everything. Every man, no matter how strong he may appear on the outside, carries invisible battles within him. He walks through life with expectations pressing on his shoulders, expectations from family, from society, from his career, and from himself. He may not always show it, but there are days when the weight feels unbearable. On those days, criticism can break him further, silence can isolate him more, but encouragement can breathe life back into him. Encouragement is not just a nice gesture, it is the fuel that unlocks a man's potential. It has the power to transform how he sees himself, and how far he believes he can go. When you speak to a man with words that remind him of his strength, you give him something the world often denies him: belief. Men are trained to project confidence, to appear unshaken, to pretend they have everything under control. But behind the mask, many doubt themselves. They question if they are enough, if they can succeed, if they are living up to what is expected of them. Encouragement reaches into those hidden doubts and answers them with reassurance. It says, yes, you can. Yes, you are capable. Yes, you are enough. And when he hears that in your voice, it awakens a power inside him that he may have forgotten he had. Encouragement is not flattery. It is not empty words designed to please. Real encouragement is rooted in truth. It notices the effort he makes, however small, and acknowledges it. It recognizes the struggles he endures quietly and tells him they matter. It sees his potential, even when he doesn't, and reflects it back to him. A man may forget a compliment, but he will never forget the words that gave him courage when he was about to give up. Those words stay with him, guiding him long after they were spoken. Imagine a man working toward his dreams. He faces setbacks, failures, rejections. Each time he falls, he questions himself. Then he hears a voice that says, "I believe in you. I see how hard you're trying. I know you can do this." Suddenly, he rises again. Not because the challenges disappeared, but because someone reminded him of his strength. Encouragement becomes the spark that reignites his fire, and once a man feels that kind of support, he will carry it with him everywhere he goes. There is something magnetic about a person who can encourage sincerely. Men are surrounded by critics. They are measured by their achievements, compared to others, and often judged by their failures. What they lack is a voice that chooses to uplift instead of tear down. When you become that voice, you set yourself apart. Your words become a safe place, a source of energy, and a reminder that he is not alone in his battles. Encouragement does not just make him like you more. It makes him see you as irreplaceable, because you give him something he cannot find in most places. Encouragement also builds trust. A man opens his heart to the one who makes him feel capable. He shares more, dreams bigger, and takes risks he may not have taken before, because he knows that even if he falls, someone will be there to remind him he can get back up. This creates a bond that is deeper than attraction or charm. It becomes a partnership where your words and his actions feed each other. You believe in him, and that belief makes him want to rise higher, not just for himself, but for you. Encouragement has the power to change a man's self-image. Many men carry scars from words spoken to them in the past, words of doubt, of criticism, of dismissal. They internalize those voices and carry them like shadows, repeating them in their minds every time they face difficulty. But when your voice enters that space with encouragement, it begins to replace those negative echoes. Your words become louder than the doubt. They rewire the way he sees himself, and slowly he starts to believe that maybe he really is capable of more than he thought. That shift in self-image changes everything: his confidence, his decisions, his courage, and ultimately his destiny. Even in the smallest moments, encouragement matters. A simple "I'm proud of you," or "I see how hard you're working," can change the way a man feels about his day. It may seem small to you, but to him, it could mean the difference between giving up and pushing forward. Encouragement is like water to a thirsty soul. It doesn't take much to make a huge impact. Consistency matters more than grandeur. A steady stream of encouragement builds him stronger than a single dramatic gesture. Encouragement also has a ripple effect. When you encourage a man, you don't just change his mood, you change his behavior. He becomes more motivated, more patient, more resilient. That energy carries into his work, his goals, and his relationships with others. Encouragement multiplies. It spreads far beyond the moment it was spoken. The encouragement you give him today could inspire a decision that changes his life tomorrow. But the true beauty of encouragement is that it comes from authenticity. It must be sincere. Men can sense when words are hollow, when they are spoken without thought or belief. Real encouragement requires you to see the good in him, even when he is struggling. It requires you to believe in him not only when he is winning, but also when he is failing. The moments when encouragement is hardest to give are the moments when it is most needed. That is when your words can transform him the most, when he is at his lowest and you remind him of his strength. Encouragement does not mean ignoring flaws. It does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means acknowledging the challenges but focusing on the potential. Instead of saying, "You failed," encouragement says, "You learned and you can do better." Instead of saying, "You're not enough," encouragement says, "You're growing, and I see how far you've come." This perspective shift doesn't deny reality. It reframes it in a way that empowers him rather than defeats him. When a man feels genuinely encouraged, he feels safe to be vulnerable. He feels safe to admit his fears, to share his struggles, to show the parts of himself that the world doesn't see. Encouragement creates that safe space because it carries no judgment, only belief. Once a man experiences that kind of safety, he will crave it. He will value the person who gives it because it allows him to be fully himself without fear of being torn down. Encouragement has the power to build intimacy that words of love alone cannot create. Love may say, "I care for you," but encouragement says, "I believe in you." That belief is transformative. It makes him not only feel loved but also empowered. He begins to associate your presence with strength, your words with fuel, and your energy with hope. And when a man feels that way around you, he doesn't just want you, he needs you because you unlock parts of him that he cannot access alone. This is why encouragement is one of the most powerful ways to talk to a man. It is not about manipulation or strategy. It is about truth, about recognizing his humanity, about speaking life into the parts of him that are tired and unseen. Encouragement does not just build him, it builds the bond between you. It creates loyalty, trust, and a connection that no superficial attraction could ever replace. A man who is encouraged consistently becomes a man who believes in himself. A man who believes in himself becomes unstoppable, and the person who helped him unlock that belief becomes unforgettable. That is the power of encouragement. It doesn't just change him, it changes everything around him. A man may be drawn to appearances. He may be attracted by charm. He may even be impressed by accomplishments. But what truly captures his heart and holds his attention is authenticity. Authenticity is magnetic in a way that nothing else can be. It is the purest form of connection, the kind that does not rely on pretense, performance, or perfection. When you show up as yourself, honest, raw, and real, you create a bond that goes deeper than admiration or attraction. You create trust. You create safety. You create something that feels irreplaceable. In a world where so many wear masks to fit expectations, authenticity is rare. People often feel pressured to act in ways that are not natural to them, thinking it will make them more likable or desirable. But what happens is the opposite. Pretense creates distance. It builds walls instead of bridges. A man might enjoy surface level charm for a while, but eventually he senses when something is not real. And when he does, the connection fades, no matter how beautiful or impressive the surface seemed. Authenticity, on the other hand, endures. It becomes more attractive with time because it never loses its truth. Authenticity is not about perfection. It's about honesty. It means showing your strengths confidently, but also allowing your flaws to be visible. It means admitting when you're wrong, being open about what you feel, and speaking in a way that matches who you truly are. A man doesn't crave someone flawless. He craves someone real. When you allow yourself to be genuine, you give him permission to do the same. That creates a bond that is far stronger than one built on carefully constructed appearances. Authenticity speaks through words, but also through energy. When you talk to a man from a place of truth, your words carry a different weight. They don't sound rehearsed or calculated, they flow naturally. They don't try too hard to impress. They simply express. A man can feel the difference. He may not be able to explain it, but he will sense it. Authenticity resonates at a deeper level, and it stays with him long after the conversation is over. One of the most irresistible qualities of authenticity is confidence. Not arrogance, but the quiet kind of confidence that comes from being comfortable in your own skin. When you know who you are and you don't feel the need to pretend, that comfort becomes magnetic. It tells him that you are grounded, that you are stable, that you are real. Men are naturally drawn to that energy because it feels safe and inspiring at the same time. It tells him that he can let his guard down around you because you are not performing, you are simply being. Authenticity also means consistency. When you are authentic, the way you speak, act, and behave aligns with who you truly are. There is no constant shift depending on who is watching or what the situation demands. That consistency builds trust. A man doesn't have to question if your words match your intentions, because they always do. And trust, once built through authenticity, becomes the foundation for deeper intimacy. Many people try to use scripts or strategies to capture a man's attention. Lines, tricks, tactics, those may work temporarily, but they lack staying power. Authenticity is the opposite of strategy. It doesn't try to manipulate or control the outcome. It simply shows up as truth and lets the connection flow naturally. That is why it feels refreshing and irresistible. A man can sense when he is being manipulated, and he can sense when he is being genuinely seen. Authenticity always wins because it allows the bond to grow organically. Authenticity also brings vulnerability, and vulnerability is powerful. When you are willing to speak honestly about your feelings, your fears, your dreams, and even your failures, you invite him into a deeper space. You show him that you are not afraid to be real, and that encourages him to do the same. Men may resist vulnerability with the world, but when they find someone who makes it safe, they open up. And once a man opens up to you in ways he doesn't with anyone else, you become unforgettable to him. That kind of connection cannot be replaced. Being authentic also means refusing to play roles that don't belong to you. It means not pretending to be the person you think he wants, but instead being who you really are. The irony is that this is what makes you most attractive. Pretending may create short-term interest, but authenticity creates long-term devotion. Because when he connects with your real self, not the mask, he falls for something deeper than appearance. He falls for essence. And essence cannot be copied. Authenticity is also liberating. When you don't have to perform or pretend, you feel free. That freedom makes you radiant. It makes your presence light, effortless, and magnetic. A man doesn't just feel attracted to you. He feels good around you because your authenticity creates space where he can breathe, where he can relax, where he can just be himself. That sense of freedom is intoxicating, and he will keep coming back to it because it is so rare in a world filled with pressure and performance. When you speak with authenticity, your words do more than communicate, they connect. You don't have to try to sound perfect or calculated. You simply speak from your heart, and when you do, he feels it. Words spoken with authenticity bypass the surface and go straight to the soul. They touch him in ways polished lines never could. He may forget rehearsed compliments, but he will never forget the words you spoke with genuine honesty, because those words stay in his heart. Authenticity is also attractive because it brings balance. When you are authentic, you know how to express appreciation without flattery, how to give encouragement without exaggeration, how to share your needs without guilt. Everything you say comes from a place of balance and truth. That steadiness makes him feel grounded, because he knows that with you, there is no confusion, no hidden agenda, no second guessing. With you, what he sees is what he gets, and that clarity is priceless. The most magnetic part of authenticity is that it is unshakable. Looks can change, circumstances can shift, but authenticity remains. It is not dependent on external factors. It is who you are at the core. That permanence makes it powerful. A man knows that when he connects with your authenticity, he is connecting with something lasting, not temporary, and that sense of permanence makes him value you even more. Authenticity also commands respect. When you are real, when you refuse to compromise your values just to impress, you earn admiration. He may not always agree with you, but he will respect you, because authenticity carries integrity. And respect is the foundation of attraction that lasts. Without respect, attraction fades quickly. With respect, attraction deepens over time. There is something undeniably captivating about someone who is unapologetically authentic. They shine differently, they stand out without trying. They don't chase attention, but attention finds them. A man cannot resist that kind of energy, because it is rare, because it is pure, and because it makes him feel alive. Authenticity doesn't scream for attention. It quietly captivates it. A man may be surrounded by many voices, but the one he craves most is the voice that feels real, the voice that speaks truth, the voice that doesn't try to manipulate or pretend. When you talk to him with authenticity, you become that voice, and once he experiences it, he will crave it again and again, because it feels like home in a world that often feels fake. Authenticity is irresistible because it is the bridge between hearts. It is the thing that allows two people to truly see each other, beyond appearances, beyond roles, beyond performances. It is the language of connection, and when you speak it, you unlock a bond that is rare and lasting. A man may admire beauty, but he falls in love with authenticity. He may be entertained by charm, but he is captivated by truth. And once he feels that truth from you, nothing else will compare.